I'd like to thank everyone who enjoyed the poem I read yesterday, which was called The Undetected Path, which comes from this very new book called Exploring Rights, that's just been published by Cinnamon Press here in the UK. But of course, in the current situation where so many of us are confined at home and obviously can't attend gatherings of many kinds, be they poetry readings or sporting events or anything, I thought it would be a good idea to read a few more poems from this particular volume. And I was very pleased to see today actually that Cinnamon Press is also itself going to do a bit more in terms of blogging, a bit more in terms of encouraging authors to reach out to readers. And although poetry, as W.H. Auden once wrote, makes nothing happen, I think Auden meant that in quite an important way, that it fills a different space from the typical things that do make things happen, be that disease or war or the privations of economics or whatever it might be. So yesterday I read a very peaceful poem. I did mention that this book has a number of different tones to it and shades and colours. But so the poem I'd like to read is a poem that goes back to a very different period of global crisis, which is October 1962, and of course the Cuban Missile Crisis. Now, I was not born then, but anyone who's studied 20th century history, and there may be people here tonight or listening to this video at some point tomorrow who lived during that time and the very real fear of nuclear Armageddon that was a very real possibility as a result of the Cold War conflict between the USSR as it was and of course the US. So this poem is dedicated to, and the title has the name of this person, who was a Russian naval nuclear submarine commander called Vasili Alexandrovich Arkipov. And I'll just read the little introduction to this poem, which is a summary which just provides the historical context of why this person, I think, has to be one of the greatest heroes of all humankind, because he was effectively the person that averted Russia launching nuclear warheads on the United States off Cuba in October of that year. So just to introduce Vasili Alexandrovich Arkipov. Vasili Alexandrovich Arkipov was one of the few survivors of the K-19 nuclear submarine accident and the sole commanding naval officer aboard the B-59 to refuse the launching of nuclear warheads on the United States of America during the Cuban Missile Crisis of October 1962. So that's a little introduction. Just to provide a little bit more context, because of course it is a historically informed poem, at least I hope it is. What I wanted to say, as you can see from that summary, is that Arkhipov had already been in a nuclear accident on a submarine, the K-19, somewhere off the coast of Greenland. And then 15 months later, he found himself actually pretty much at the bottom of the ocean near Cuba. American ships had located those Russian subs. They had depth charged them, or tried to, and they'd gone as low as they could to not be detected. The only reason we know anything about this particular Russian naval gentleman is because in about 2002 there was a press conference in which his identity was revealed and the role he played became so important. So this is a poem about the right of refusal, which I think is profoundly powerful. So I'm sorry to give you such an introduction, but it is this kind of poem. His wife also is called Olga. she had to deal with him coming back, having refused to agree with the other two naval submarine officers to launch those weapons. So this is called Vasili Alexandrovich Arkipov. A shy Moscow boy with radiant eyes, quiet, diffident, pensive at the gates of the academy, but calm in himself, so Olga said, for she would know. Knew even how he felt, perhaps, already irradiated, as the coolant of the K-19 failed somewhere off the coast of Greenland. We cannot say where. How his eyes narrowed at the catastrophic task before them. In 60 days, all his engineers dead. Unenviable preparation for only 15 months on. His parents still peasants in the fields of Staraya Kupavna. Him buried in the deepest waters off Cuba, this time aboard the B-59. No radio, again. Unable to surface or risk being depth-charged to the ocean's uncontested bed. How were his words with Savitsky and Maslenikov simmering, their mouths contorted with the thought of war already above them, not knowing and the knowledge of nothing, a torpedo shaft from annihilation, and Arkhipov refusing, insisting they consult Moscow, calculating the survivable disgrace of returning home, his eyes narrowing again like the boy at the gates of the academy. On their return, Greco would shadow his spectacles over a Siberian pine desk. How had the Americans found them? Olga said he did not like to speak of it, that they hadn't understood what they had endured. A survivor of survival, whom fewer would know, had Orlov not told the world in 2002 of one Vasili Alexandrovich Arkipov, who exercised the right of refusal and gave to millions and billions in the failing air of a nuclear submarine the opportunity of simple, quiet life.